Hi guys, I'm here with Ginger today. She's a cashier at Farm Home Supply and she's been with us for 8 years, and today she's going to talk to us about canning, any helpful tips and tricks, and any common questions you guys may have. So Ginger, how long have you been canning and what got you inspired to start with it?
Well, I started canning when I was about 5 or 6 years old with this canner that belonged to my grandmother, and she used to have me sit and watch, and as you see, it has no pressure gauge, so as it came up it was just a guess and hardly the safest thing. But my mother canned after that and we got a more modern canner, but anyway, I just continued to can from there.
So Ginger, for someone who wants to get into canning, what are some important pieces of information that they should know before they get started? Like basic list of supplies, some easy foods to can.
Well, first of all, don't be scared of it. A lot of people are scared of the water cookers and the pressure canners. There's nothing to be scared of. This little package of tools is wonderful. It has the funnel. It also has the jar lifter. All these are useful tools and it comes in really handy. Of course, while you're canning, be sure you pick up your jars, whether they're regular mouth or large mouth, and the ball lids. These are non-reusables. These are the rings or the bands, which you can use over and over again. And don't forget your utensils. We here at the Farm and Home carry these wonderful package things from Mrs. Veggies, and they're basically have the directions on the back. You add your tomatoes or your pickles, tomatoes, pastas. These are one of the easiest foods to can. They're used with a water bath, so there's no pressure cooking to them. Water bath is one of the easiest things to can along the way. Always use the 5% vinegar. Make sure your vinegar has 5% acid on it.
Alright, so when it comes to canning, you have water bath canning or pressure canning. So what exactly is the difference with those, and when should you use either method?
Okay, high acid will go for the water bath canning.
Water bath canning is a method of preserving food by placing sealed jars in a pot of boiling water for a specific amount of time. This process is used for high-acid foods. Examples of high-acid foods are apples, apricots, berries, cherries, peaches, tomatoes, pickles, plums, and pears.
And low acid should be used for pressure cooking.
Pressure cooking is a method of preserving food by using a specialized pressure pot that is designed to reach high temperatures to kill harmful bacteria. Examples of low-acid foods are green beans, peas, corn, carrots, beets, squash, asparagus, potatoes, beef, pork, poultry, and fish.
Alright, so jams and jellies are really popular for beginners to start canning at home. So do you have any helpful tips or tricks to help them get started with that?
Well, clean jars, of course, but make sure you're using pure cane sugar. That is a big thing because other sugars are made from potatoes, and the cane sugar will set up better and makes a clearer jelly. And also, the easiest way, there's a couple ways to determine whether your jelly is ready to set. But if you put a couple saucers in the freezer as you're cooking your jelly, and then when you think it's about ready, if you want to do the spoon test and watch the drip, instead of it running off, it will gradually drip, 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 and you can tell the thickness. And if you're not comfortable with that, take out one of the saucers, put a small dab on the saucers, and it will like glaze over and determine how set up it was, and then you'll know that your cooking is ready and it's ready to jar.
Okay, some common canning questions that people may run into. Ginger's going to touch on those for us. So the first one is, why didn't my jars seal?
Well, there could be a lot of reasons. When you first start to can, you should take the jar and run your finger around the top to make sure there's no chips or malfunctions in the top of the jar. Once they're filled, also make sure that you wipe that off so that you get a good seal with the lid. Another mistake is a lot of people fill the jars way too full. A ½ inch is about standard. You need oxygen to go through that for the jar to seal properly. And I find this with gentlemen that like to can. They tighten the lids way too tight, and therefore a lot of times the lids will buckle and they don't seal properly all the way around.
Another common canning question is, can I reuse my canning lids?
No. Once the canning lid has been used, throw it away, do not reuse it. And that also comes with the rings. The rings are wonderful to reuse. You can even take them off the jar once they are sealed and put them on a different jar to use. But after a time of reuse, they get very rusty. And when they rust to a certain point, throw them away, because that is also a reason why your jar may not seal, because it doesn't give a proper fit to the jar and it just will not seal.
Good. Another question people may have if they're new to canning is, how long can I store my canned food?
Approximately 2 years if it's kept in a cool, dry area, dark area. Some of it can be stored longer than that. Always look for bubbles, mold, buckled lids. All that shows that what you've canned is not good or it's spoiling. Sometimes even smell. If you go in to where your canned goods are, you can smell it, that it isn't, something's not right. You'll know that I got to search for that jar.